Why don't we talk about some games? So first up on the chopping block, quite literally, last week we were talking about 38 Studios and the big conundrum about how they owed Rhode Island like millions and millions of dollars. Well, this week things have gotten even worse for the company, and they have fired all of their employees.
Whoops.
Oh yeah, and they also shut down Big Huge Games, which was a studio that they had purchased. Now this is becoming quite the fiasco because Rhode Island was owed about $75 million, and the check that they were supposed to receive from 38 Studios was for about $1.25 million. That check bounced.
Whoops.
Now the company doesn't exist, so there's no way they're going to be paid back, which means that leaves a deficit for the taxpayers of about $112 million that they have to pay in Rhode Island now because of this flop. The man behind the trade commission that gave them the money has resigned, and yeah, everybody's been fired. It's very, very lame and sad. It's not good news at all. Yeah, it totally sucks.
I really liked Kingdoms of Amalur.
Yeah.
That's a solid RPG. It was good to see someone actually knowing how to make a good RPG.
It's really sad. I mean, because like this Curt Schilling, the guy who was behind 38 Studios, and like this was his vision, and it's almost never pays off. Like when you talk to people like Peter Molyneux about Fable and like all the stuff that's supposed to be in it, like this is somebody that like made his game live up to his standards.
Yeah.
And
it's an awesome game.
Yeah, when you talked with him about it, like you would see like his tears like welling up in his eyes because he was like so happy to be making this game. So this has definitely got to be a swift kick in the nuts, like really hard to Curt Schilling himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously our hearts go out to the families of 38 Studios and the employees affected by this. We hope you all find jobs soon. Actually, one spunky young game journalist is taking it upon himself to compile a list of jobs that are available in the game industry. So Alex Rubens gets a shout out this week for being a really cool dude and making quite the impressive movement on Twitter happen. There is a Google Doc going on there, and you should definitely check it out if you're looking for a job. So yeah, but this means Rhode Island now owns the Kingdoms of Amalur. And I really think it's time for like some rebranding, honestly. Like go to scenic Rhode Island where you can wander the plains and grind for levels and gather potions. Like stuff like that. What is Rhode Island going to be franchise?
I don't want it to be a Rhode Island RPG. That would be terrible.
Look at this. Bring that. Get us out of here. Let's look at this picture in the background here.
Hold on.
Oh yes. Do we have more of these, or is this the only one? Oh. Look at what Rhode Island could do with the Kingdoms of Amalur here. I'll get out of the way. Oh, look at that. They could put up statues in front of old-timey houses. Yeah, you could fight Capitol buildings.
No idea what that's in there. Yeah.
That could be your castle.
That's my favorite.
That is awesome. Yes.